Welcome back to the Morning Blend. Getting hurt on the job is scary, and what comes next is hard to navigate. That's trying to figure out how to pay for those medical bills. So what benefits are you entitled to? Alex Eichhorn from Tabak Law joins us now to help you understand your options. Good morning to you.
Well, good morning to you, Molly. It's great to be back in studio here.
I know, I was just thinking the same thing. It's been too long since we've seen you in person, so thanks so much for joining us. I want to talk about people who get hurt at work, and I think very often when the unexpected happens or something that's traumatic, you kind of want to have in your mind, what should I do? You want to know what your first step should be.
The first step is always going to be telling your employer of the injury, that the injury occurred. The next step is going to be ensuring that you're getting the medical care which is necessary. And the third step, and maybe one of the more important steps, is to reach out to an attorney. You contact my office. The call is entirely risk-free. You're going to speak with myself or another associate attorney or skilled paralegal who's going to be able to guide you through the process, tell you exactly what to do and tell you what to next do to ensure that you are protecting yourself. So,
see, I think so often people think, I want to get some legal advice, but they're worried, how much is that going to cost?
It's free. It's entirely free. And the only time that my firm actually gets paid is directly from workers' compensation at the end of your claim, and only if we get you benefits that you otherwise would not have received. So if you call me and I say, Molly, I'm sorry to hear of your injury, this is what you should do. Contact your employer, let them know, and seek medical care with a doctor of your choosing. And that's actually something I want to touch on a little bit more. In Wisconsin, you can pick your own doctor. A lot of other states require you to go see their doctor. So really important you pick your doctor, and we're going to tell you this during the call. So if you feel like you kind of remember when you speak with us, it's going to be free. And about, I would say 75% of people that we speak with actually don't end up retaining us because their claim is entirely conceded. They don't need us. So we give them the information and they go on their merry way. It's not infrequent that a year down the road, though, something goes awry. The work comp company says, we think you should have reached your end of healing and we're not going to pay your benefits anymore. And then they have our phone number, they have our letter we send them, and they can call us, and we keep all of our records for 6 years or even longer generally, and we're able to look back up the record and get the claim going and get in touch with the adjuster right away.
See, it's so interesting what you said about the fact that many of the people who call you don't end up retaining you because they don't need to. And when you said the claim has been conceded, what you're saying is it's been handled. It's been their bills have been covered by their employer, or they've gotten the attention and the medical care that they need. So I think that's fascinating. Who is covered by workers' compensation if they're hurt at work?
Yeah, and this is becoming a more interesting question. As long as you're doing work that is in the benefit of an employer, you're covered. And in the state of Wisconsin, every employer with 5 employees or more, and really generally any employer, has workers' compensation. Why it's an interesting question, something we're seeing a lot more, is about 35% of the workforce is continually working from home. And we have seen, workers' compensation rates went down over 10% this year.
Wow.
So they're seeing a lot fewer claims. And one of the reasons is people don't know that if they're injured at home, that they can have a workers' compensation claim. So just a quick scenario would be, you are working, you go downstairs to grab a glass of water in between your meeting and typing, and you trip on your stairs and hurt your ankle severely. You may think that because you're at home and you're actually getting a glass of water, which is a slight deviation from your work, that you wouldn't be covered. But currently, the way the law is set up is you're very broadly covered. Really, if any injury, another even more hyperbolic example would be you're working from the pool. You can work, you have your laptop there, and you fall in and something goes wrong and you sustain an injury. The answer is yes, you're covered. I would certainly help you out, take on your claim. You're working on, doing the benefit of the employer, and therefore you're covered. So give us a call. We can walk through the situations. It's not so black and white just yet. The law still has got to go through the Labor and Appeals Board and maybe the Supreme Court to determine what definitively quantifies or qualifies as work-related when you're working from home. But as of right now, it's very, very broad.
That fascinates me. I was just thinking when you were talking about workers' comp about how many people, because of the pandemic, have been working from home so much more. I would have never assumed or thought that those types of injuries would be covered when you're working at home. So I think it's really important for people to take that in right now because the landscape has changed in the workforce. Okay, you mentioned that you can see your own doctor, which I think is also really important for people to know. What if you return to your same job and now say, for example, you have restrictions? How does that affect things?
And it's a great question. So what happens oftentimes is that same client who contacts us early on, benefits are paid, including lost wages, medical bills, transportation costs to and from doctors, but they get permanent restrictions that do not allow them to return to the job they were doing. Say they're a construction worker, they can't lift over 25 pounds. So the state of Wisconsin sets up two different options. You have the option to be retrained through DVR, the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. However, if you are unable to return to work in any capacity, then there is also something called the loss of earning capacity claim. And depending on the extent of the injury, you could be entitled to your lost wages, your weekly wages, for the rest of your life on a weekly basis. And that's obviously a very extreme injury, but we've represented hundreds, if not thousands, of people who have sustained loss of earning capacity. So you're not just hung out to dry. If you can't return to work and you think you got all the benefits that you are entitled to, give us a call. It's, again, free. Those claims are usually six-figure claims, and they will go unpaid unless you give us a call and we're able to identify it.
See, I think that's so huge. It's complicated, and there's so many of the things you said surprised me, and I'm sure they surprise your clients. So it's worth asking questions, which is great because you do a no-risk consultation. Thank you so much, Alex. Great to see you. Really important information today. You can call Tabak for the payback. They offer a 100% risk-free consultation. Here's the phone number. It's 414-351-4400, or for more information, you can visit their website too. It's tabakattorneys.com. Still ahead today.